Hi everyone, I'm Lisa from Tilted Treats, and I'm going to do some marshmallow bunny look-alike sugar cookies. So I've got my cookie here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is flood it with a white icing. We're going to completely cover this with sanding sugar, so really any color would work okay. I'm using a tipless bag, and I also use Franken frosting, and this is a medium consistency. My count somewhere between 12 and 15 seconds. I'm kind of doing what I kind of call a rough outline, where I don't exactly go right up to the edge. I find that when I do that, I have a tendency for my icing to fall off the side of my cookie. And it works just better for me, and I also find that I'm quicker if I flood it just a little on the inside and then come back with my scribe tool. I could have been a little neater about the flooding, and normally I would have been, but I'm super low with icing in the bag, so I kind of had to get a different grip on it and squeeze it. So I'm just going to scribe it all over really well to make sure that I get the little air bubbles out. It actually isn't even that huge of a deal because we're going to completely saturate this with sanding sugar. And I'm just kind of scribing, not to get everything exact because the sanding sugar is going to actually push it over a little tiny bit anyway. But I just want to get the general outline of the cookie. And if I have any areas that look like they're going to be troublesome, then I'll push them back with my scribe. So I like these little miniature bead trays. They're fantastic. The reason that I like to use them is that they do have a hole here so that you can put your sugar back in. So I'm going to flip my cookie here. And generously coat it in my sanding sugar. Give him a little shake off. I've got a little paintbrush here that I'm just going to, I guess the weight of the sanding sugar might push a little of the icing over the edge. That's another reason why I don't go super close. If there's any areas that maybe didn't get completely covered in sugar, I can go back and hit those. And then I can also, do you see how this is kind of off the edge a little bit? So I'm going to take my paintbrush and just scooch it back in. This is a completely and totally dry brush, so it's really simple to do that. And a little bit off isn't going to make that big of a deal anyway. Okay, so he looks really good. So now the super neat thing about this is that I've got my container here. I already took the plug out of this, and then I'm just going to dump everything right back in. Sorry to get it up and down, it's in the way of the camera. Okay, so now I'm off to the next color. Same process. I'm staying in a little more this time, just because I was slightly off the edge. And again, it's not necessary to be super neat with this because it's all going to be covered up with sanding sugar. So even if you have little air bubbles, it's no big deal. So I just want to give it a little scribe. And if you run into any areas where you've got a little extra buildup of icing, just take your scribe and scoot it someplace else. Away from the edge, preferably. I typically just head to the middle of the cookie. And it usually ends up evening itself out. So now I've got my cookie flooded here. I'm going to stick him here. Get my next color of sanding sugar. Give it a generous sprinkle. And by staying in a little bit, this really helped. I don't have any places that are coming off the edge. Just hitting a couple places on the edge where it didn't go around good, and then he's good. So again, with my little bead tray, and then on to the next bunny. At the edge of my bag and my cookie. I don't think I'm going to get another cookie out of that bag. So I'll just do a little scribing here. And again, I'm staying in from the edge just a tiny little bit, except in that case. Off the edge a little bit there, so I just took the scribe and squished the icing back to the middle. So I'm going to flop him down. We have a local store that sells these sanding sugars, and they always have the best selections, and their selections actually change seasonally. So when I went to check, they had these lovely pastel colors that I thought would be perfect for Easter. Okay, he's good. They make these bigger beading trays in much bigger sizes. So if you had a larger cookie or